Romance caught in the fantasies of lunacy.
Ooh, Yaoi review.
Hi everybody, it's Corbin, and today I am going to be talking about Ludwig II by You Higuri, Volume 1, published by June Manga. I'm going to read the back, we will delve into it, and we'll get through the nitty-gritty. Ludwig II, the King of Bulgaria, has unthinkable wealth, the legions of retainers at his disposal, but he's the victim of madness that is capable of turning reality into a mere shadow. His passionate fantasies and hunger for life, most unreachable beauties, seize control of his every waking thought and transport him away from the dire day-to-day problems of conflict-riddled Europe and into the hypnotic dreamscape of his own design. But when the shy and handsome footman, Hornig, suddenly appears, the king finds himself irresistibly drawn to the sweet boy's innocence and pure heart. Will Ludwig's spell of isolation finally be broken by love? Ludwig II is a spellbinding drama based on a real-life love and losses of the Mad King of Bulgaria, Ludwig II. With war on the horizon, political alliances severing with a mere whisper, it is up to the eccentric king to keep his kingdom at peace. But what of the day's battles raging within his soul? Ludwig's devotion to the arts and the desire for a beautiful world, for a world too beautiful to believe, threatened to destroy his reign. But a simple servant may hold the key to his revenge. This is rated 18+, and like I said, it's published by June. So, where to start? This begins and it opens with an entire kind of remembrance, death sequence. We are greeted with his cousin, the Empress of Russia. She's mourning his loss and crying over him. And we're really thrown into a situation we know absolutely nothing about. As far as this is really concerned, you feel really wavering, uneasy, and mildly lost. I for the first, quarter of the book was completely confused. I mean, I was able to follow it, the way you're supposed to be, but as far as which timeline you're actually in, it doesn't get solidified until after maybe the first third's over, which is quite a bit to have to wait through before it starts making sense. We get a lot of background information, well, we get a lot of future tense from where the story's standpoint is. We see he's died, it talks about where his gravestone is, it shows us what and then it does flashbacks to what he was like as a child, and what his madness really entails, and who his lovers are, and things along those natures. Then it bounces back to the future with the Empress of Russia, talking about how magical and beautiful he was, and how she was the only one that understood him, and that he really wasn't mad, he just had a powerful imagination kind of thing. Then we bump to the main storyline, which is where we meet two twin brothers who progress through the story for about a chapter, and it's very, very, very good. It becomes, after that point, along the lines of Gorgeous Carrot, so with Noir and his love romance kind of thing, except for this one, you actually get the sexy times. Now, one brother is evil, the other brother is good, and the good brother ends up nearly getting killed by the bad brother, and they're identical twins, so this is like, wow. And the king is the only one that realizes it and saves the good brother, and then they have the hanky-panky and make all-night squealy piggy noises. So it's very, 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 very fun. It keeps you interested. The artwork alone is beautiful. We do actually follow the story of Ludwig very, very well. It does keep you captivated. The art style is that very traditional You Higuri kind of style. It is very androgynous shonen, except for it still keeps that difference kind of thing until it doesn't. There's like a whole section about how he fell in love with a character in an opera, and that's the only way he can handle the world as he envisions it in that kind of opera sense where it's magical. And he talks about that. It's a very beautiful scene, but the main male figure, which is the swan sent from the moon, I think, he is a very androgynous figure. It's very beautiful. And it's just all about love and romance and being trapped inside one's own imagination. Now, the plot thickens towards the end because the stable hand, or the head of the stables, now learns of the plot against the king's life, but doesn't know how to tell him. And it becomes sort of bittersweet towards the end because the king isn't always all there. Sometimes, with the lack of faculties, he's not sure what he's going to get. When the king's on the ball and 100% ready to go, I mean, he's able to conquer the world. He had no problems with handling turmoil within his country and getting what he wants done. So, it's one of these that you have to take it with the good and the bad. Well, romance-wise. With this as a whole, I gave it 2.5 stars. Now, the reason I did that is because chronologically, I don't like flashbacks unless they're really obvious. In this volume, you can argue they are really obvious because, well, she uses past tense, and there's mountains of the narration that they do written in all over the place, but it's not good enough of a delineation between the time frame we're in and the time frame that she's in the future after he's died. It's not enough for me that... I mean, we are dealing with a Mad King, so I have to realize that time frames aren't going to make sense, and I'm aware of that. I was expecting a better delineation between the two. I was expecting something where I'd be able to follow it a little better. It is still beautiful. It's still a very, very interesting. By the very end of this, I was getting ready to pick up the second volume and start reading it, and I'll tell you, it gets intense. It gets really good. But the part that gets good here. So the last third is about where it starts to get really good. Right when the Empress of Russia comes in the time frame where the king's still alive. So right here. Which, I mean, you could argue it's about half. You really could. The last half, I guess, is where you'd say it got really good. But, I mean, that's probably why it's so thick, is because it wouldn't make any sense unless you had it so thick. If you guys have questions about this, shoot them down below. It really isn't a bad yaoi. It's just, for me, this volume wasn't that great. I'm sure I will love the next one, because now I get how it kind of flows. It just took me a while to get used to it. So if you have questions or comments, shoot them down below. I will reply back to you. Let me know if you've read this and if you have an opinion on it. I do encourage you to read it because, I mean, the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. You Higuri is a master at doing that. So that's not the problem at all. Her storytelling's very good. So, I mean, you get attached to the characters. So yeah, shoot me a like, a favorite, share this video with a friend who likes yaoi, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
You like what you see? Then...
subscribe!